Before we get into the Secret Service buffoonery and talk about their lack of ability to go ahead and defend the President of the United States, literally the one thing that the Secret Service is designed to do, let's talk about the other people who unfortunately lost a loved one in this situation. And because the United States government isn't providing them any sort of relief, you're having to once again go to the private sector that is doing an overwhelmingly positive job on that. But first and foremost, let's take a look at what happened in the previous couple of days, where firefighter Corey Comperators, I'll eventually get that name right. Everybody's struggling with that surname, and it's not out of disrespect. It's just, it's an Italian last name and comes with the territory, I'm sure. But yeah, his widow refused a Biden call after a Trump rally shooting. Didn't want to talk to him. Which is like, yeah, what's Biden gonna say on that one? I'm really sorry that I used to call your husband's chosen political candidate like a Nazi and a dictator. My rhetoric may or may not have instigated something like this. But how's the weather there? How I was born in Scranton, PA. Heartbroken widow of Corey Comperatore. The hero firefighter shot dead by a sniper at a Donald Trump rally, wanted nothing to do with President Biden when he called after the tragedy. She told the Post, "I didn't talk to Biden," Helen said from her Pennsylvania home on Monday. "I didn't want to talk to him. My husband was a devout Republican, and he would not have wanted me to talk to him." I was like, fair enough. And what is his incoherent ramblings going to do that the good people of Pennsylvania and the United States, in fact, haven't already done for you and the people that were affected by this tragedy? Yeah, $5.1 million raised. Now, that's not going to bring anybody back to life. That's not going to help the two other people that were critically injured. I'm not too sure of their current state. That's not going to bring Corey back to life. It's going to help, but I'm sure that they would, more than anything else, want their lives to go back to normal and for, I don't know, maybe people to do their job. But even the guy that was the target of the assassination, okay? The guy who's pretty busy right now with a little thing called the RNC right now, managed to carve out a little bit of time, obviously, holding up the phone to his left ear, I would imagine, placed the phone call to Helen, and she did, in fact, pick up that call. Grieving widow of the hero firefighter killed during the failed assassination attempt on Donald Trump said the former president called her on Tuesday to offer his condolences. He was very kind, and he said he would continue to call me in the days and weeks. Oh, man, that's very nice. Very nice. Hope he means that. Helen Comperatore wrote of Trump on her private Facebook page. "I told him the same thing I told everyone else. He left this world a hero, and God welcomed him in. He did not die in vain that day." And she's in awfully good spirits for losing her husband of how many decades in such a senseless and thoughtless manner, all because the people responsible for looking after and making sure that these attempts don't happen didn't do their job and are still having a tough time doing their job, because outside the RNC on Tuesday, there was a psychopath out there swinging knives and heard voices before being shot dead by cops. Yeah, near the RNC. So what are we talking about here? Knife-wielding homeless man who allegedly heard voices was shot dead outside the Republican National Convention on Tuesday, marking the second fatality at the GOP event in days. Oh, really? A witness told the scene told the Post that the man was swinging two steak knives at police about 5 blocks away from the GOP event headquarters, just 2 hours before the nation's leading party members were slated to take the stage. He had a look in his eyes. That was nothing I've seen before in 4 months of knowing him. Okay, said Edward Watkins, a fellow hobo, claimed to be the victim's best friend. "I've known him for 4 months. We're best friends. Cocaine's a hell of a drug." Several eyewitnesses said the victim was shot in the back while he was trying to run away from security. At least 8 gunshots were heard, and frankly, I don't care, because the beefed up security, they at least did their job before anybody was injured or lost their lives. It's not the same thing that we can say about the Secret Service, who, if you haven't seen this video, I'm not going to play it. It's 5 minutes long, but it perfectly syncs up from the point in time when you had the shooter, who we're going to be doing a video on in the very near future. Don't worry about that. That's coming down the pipe. Gets into position, takes a shot at Trump, and it takes the Secret Service an additional 2 minutes to get Trump off the stage. What are we doing? What in the blue hell are we doing? But then we have more information. Thomas Crooks, took out a rangefinder, which was noticed by a sniper before the rally. He disappeared and returned with a backpack. What? So he was already scoping out the scene and somebody had eyes on him? What? Let me say that again. Sniper saw Crooks pull out a rangefinder to calculate the distance to the target, and still it didn't stop him. According to CBS News, snipers observed Crooks checking out the structure, taking out a rangefinder, and later returning with a backpack. Local law enforcement says Crooks kept disappearing before he climbed on the roof. And that's what many people were hollering at the law enforcement officers that were down there. Hey, that guy's got a gun on the roof. What? I don't know what to do with the one unsecured roof in the area that has a straight shot to the podium. Whatever are we going to do about that one? Local law enforcement says Crooks, yes, kept disappearing. One of the snipers inside saw Thomas Matthew Crooks outside and looking up at the roof, observing the building. Crooks came back, sat down, looked at his phone. At that point, one of the snipers took a picture of him. Crooks took out the rangefinder and the sniper radioed to the command post. Crooks disappeared again, then came back a third time with a backpack. The sniper called in with the information that he had the backpack and said he was walking towards the back of the building. They had eyes on him until the point he got on the roof with a gun. You didn't want to do anything about that after suspicious activity. You didn't want to put anybody around that building. And as Luke Rudkowski points out in this 5-point observation, the shooter at Trump's rally was spotted acting suspiciously and near the event. Authorities announced over the radio to keep an eye on him. This info was passed to the Secret Service. The shooter made it to the roof with a full rifle kit, as 2 witnesses saw him and say they were telling authorities and screaming about him for an estimates of 3 to 4 minutes. That's the guy with the fluffy redhead Trump visor. If you've seen that clip around, you know exactly what I mean. Standard sniper spotter team tasked with covering such a critical direction waits an estimated 42 seconds after looking directly at the shooter, allowing him to take 5 shots at Trump. 1 struck Corey and 2 struck other people in the crowd. The Secret Service decides it is okay to keep Trump on stage for an extended period of time when he's able to face and actually address the crowd with an active shooter. And yeah, and it's not until Trump is getting off the stage where there's any confirmation that the shooter is down. I do believe that that is the timeline of events, because you could hear it was captured on hot mic that the shooter is down, the shooter is down. And I do believe that that is after that proclamation is made, after Trump delivers the iconic fist bump to the camera, the fight, fight, fight. But any freaks that are out there saying, oh, this was all staged, he got one of his supporters killed and a couple of other wounded for a photo op. I mean, I don't even know what to say to these people anymore. Secret Service decides it is okay, yes, to keep Trump on stage. The Secret Service didn't think of securing the high point and advantage area over the event. Well, there's good justification for that, right? Because it had a sloped roof, and they didn't want to endanger any Secret Service officers. Are you having a laugh? Okay, because we know who is in this situation. That would be Elon Musk. He's been putting this bitch on absolute blast here over the past couple of days, but holy shit, man. They didn't secure the building because the roof was sloped. That is the dumbest thing I have ever heard. Embattled Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheatle says that she has no plans to resign. Right, because you're the Secret Service, you have one job, to make sure that the politicians under your security don't take shots to the head. And you fail doing that, and you're not going to resign, that they're going to have to take this job from your cold, dead hands. Unbelievable. She says she has no plans to resign, even after the stunning revelation that the agency decided not to guard the roof from which Thomas Crooks opened fire on the former president because it was too slanted. Yeah, it was too slanted for trained operatives to get up on, but not enough for somebody who flunked out of the high school shooting team. Okay, that building in particular has a sloped roof at the highest point. Yes, a sloped roof that anybody who's been out in the country, been out on a farm, just an acreage or anything like that, you've been on more severe slopes than that. Come on now. And so, you know, there's a safety factor that would be considered there, that we wouldn't want to put somebody up on a sloped roof, but you would rather put somebody in the line of open fire to protect a president. You would rather try to defend against a bullet than a light breeze and unsure footing. You're an idiot. And so, you know, the decision was made to secure the building from inside, right? From inside. And then you allowed this kid to get up and down the ladder on 3 separate occasions, huh? And set up a full kit. Yeah, okay. Cheatle admitted the agency knew that the building rooftop was a security vulnerability, but you went out there with your protractor, and it's like, we just can't station anybody up there that wouldn't be safe after all. But still opted not to position agents there, leaving it wide open for Crooks to take the ideal sniper perch with an unobstructed view of Trump on stage. Exactly, as is what is detailed right there. As you can see, the little red dot, that's where Crooks is. And yeah, clear, Unobstructed shot for Trump. Like, what are we doing here? Okay, from the roof. From the roof. Holy. From the roof. There we go. Crooks had a clear line of sight to the GOP nominee with his AR-style semi-automatic rifle about 130 yards away. Tactical operations experts were outraged by Cheatle's explanation that the building's slope was an insurmountable obstacle to properly securing the area. James Gagliano, a retired FBI supervisory special agent and Army veteran, said he didn't understand her reasoning. Now you just have to work with the terrain you're presented with. Yes, Dan Bongino, former Secret Service agent and New York Police Department cop, was indignant about Cheatle's contradictory reasoning. Well, yeah, very much so, and he would be ultra-inflammatory about this. The Secret Service director said, "Don't worry, we didn't put someone on the roof because it could have created a dangerous situation." Like what? Somebody getting shot in the head? Said on an episode of the USSS show. Washington GOP congressional candidate Joe Kent, former Army Special Forces officer, got absolutely robbed. God, he would have been so great in Congress. Anyways, wrote on X, even if the slope rendered counter-sniper coverage difficult, it still doesn't explain the catastrophic security breach. You can't get on the roof, but you identified the building roof as a threat, so what's your excuse for not securing the perimeter and all access points onto the building of the roof? Yeah, exactly. There's a slope on the roof. Okay, but there's ways to get on the roof. Why didn't you secure those? Because there's just angles and shit. Cheatle has faced steadily increasing pressure to step down on the depths of the agency's disastrous handling of Trump's attempted assassination have come to light. But of course, she's not going to step down. She is steadfast in her conviction that she is the best former Pepsi company executive for the job. And plus, she has much more pressing issues to take care of than the health and well-being of the former and future president of the United States, like making sure that 30% of the female recruits for the Secret Service are there and ready to go to just go ahead and duck and cover behind the stage, feet away from their detail. 30% of those recruits unable to properly holster their sidearm. This is what she wants. She doesn't want competent officers, even though the Secret Service has a very difficult time maintaining their workforce because it's A, crushingly boring most of the time, and B, it's intensely long and sporadic hours. So instead of finding the best people for the job and incentivizing employment, no. We just want 30% Melissa McCarthy clones to come on because that's going to somehow properly and appropriately protect somebody who's well over 6 feet tall. What's the demographic? I forget what the breakdown was. I knew this at one point in time. It's kind of like CEOs. Overwhelming majority of them are over 6 feet tall. What is somebody who is 5 foot nothing going to end up doing if you're supposed to use your body as a shield? You're wearing body armor, flak jacket, whatever the hell you want to call it, whatever they're using in today's day and age. They still use Teflon, not entirely, well, not Teflon, Kevlar. You get the two mixed up, obviously, but yeah, what's she gonna do? Protect anybody trying to take a shot at the orange Cheeto? Like, is that what she gonna do? Make sure that his shins are okay? Get out of here, man. This diversity stuff, it is dying on the vine on multiple different arenas, and hopefully come January, when all of this stuff is done and dusted, after the election is a success in November, we can get rid of this shit that is patently and obviously not working, so we can get back to having a functioning society. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.